Hey everybody, welcome to class
kids.
today.
Hello.
You can hear our kids with us. Today we are going to learn a little bit more about Jacob and his family, what happened to them. Now, last time we taught you guys, we taught about Jacob and he had to meet his brother Esau. He was being tricky, and his brother Esau was going to have some major trouble with him. Now, it worked out okay for him, which is great. But it's a lot later in his life, and he is an old guy now. So I'm going to give him some big fluffy eyebrows. And a big old nose. Let's give him a ginormo beard. Let's make it really, really, really big. Wow, that's maybe too much.
Yeah, let's keep it.
And now, last time we said he also was a chef. We're going to give him a chef hat for fun like last time, so you remember who he is. It looks like a beard, too. Maybe his hat's got a beard now.
That looks like a muffin.
Give him some eyeballs. Now, he looks kind of angry, doesn't he? He's angry at us. There we go. Now we give him a smile. Now, Jacob had a lot of kids. He had 12 boys, which is a lot of boys. But at this point of the story, he's had his first boy that he finds to be the most special. And his name is Joseph. I'm going to draw Joseph here. He's very little. Maybe we'll give him a cute little face because he's so tiny. And Jacob, named Israel, loved Joseph. Now, having all these kids was part of God's promise. God promised to give Jacob a lot of kids and to start a nation with them. And when you have 12 kids, it's like having your own nation. But they get even more as we go on here. God has a big plan to starting.
He was the youngest, right?
He was the youngest at this point in the story, but there are younger kids, you know. So, he is one of the youngest kids. Now, this was his favorite son. And he loved him so much that he gave him, I don't know if you've ever heard of the coat of many colors. He gave him a very special coat. Now, his special coat meant something important. Now, if we look at the original language the Bible is written in, it could mean ornamental, but it definitely meant the coat had long sleeves. Let's make them really long so you don't forget that. Whoop. Maybe they all kind of like curl up on the ground. His hands are like way up here. And the reason that long sleeves are probably important, I don't know, what are some of the reasons you think long sleeves could show that you were in charge? Because that's kind of what it showed back then. Does anyone have any ideas about why long sleeves might have been important?
Because it can keep you warm.
Because it can keep you warm.
Yeah, because there's more fabric.
Maybe. Now, a lot of people, I think, worked with their hands back then, so they needed their arms to be able to move around freely to do things. And what?
And for it's really cold outside, you can't even get even cold.
Yes.
And if you're drowned in the water, you're just not cold.
Well, maybe.
Okay.
But he had long sleeves because it showed he probably didn't have to do any work. He didn't have to work
Or you're
hard.
stuck in the sand.
Yeah, he didn't have to work very hard at all. So he had to watch people instead. So guess what? He had to watch. Now, imagine you are put in charge of a bunch of adults. How would you feel about that?
Not only adults, older siblings.
Yeah,
as well.
so he has siblings that maybe they look like tough guys, like, I'm a super cool guy. And maybe this guy's got like, he's got his own like tractor. And like he's like already kind of grown up. He has to take rules from his little brother. You have to do what I say. And maybe you got another brother that's like this size. He's like, hey, I don't want to listen to you. I want to eat cake. Right?
Yeah.
And maybe he's got a bunch of other brothers, and maybe this one's like they're all like really lazy brothers. So one of the things he had to do was he was out in the fields with his brothers, being in charge, because that's what his dad said he had to do. And he found out his brothers were probably not doing their job, and he gave his dad a bad report about them. He said they were not doing their job. He said, Daddy, guess what? And he said, what? I don't think my brothers did a great job. Now, I don't know about you, if you've ever had a sibling tell on you when you've done something bad.
Never. I was always good.
I was always good.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. What do you know?
I don't know about you, but I know that made me not very happy when my sister told on me when I was doing something bad. And I bet you, if your sibling tells on you about something you're doing bad, it's probably not your favorite. So, when he told his daddy about, hey, they're being bad, do you think they loved him? Do you think they had all happy hearts in their eyes? Like, what a nice brother. He's helping us do the right thing. Well, no, probably not. In fact, the Bible says that they hated him for it. They didn't even not like him for it. They were so angry that they did not like him at all. They were so angry. They're like, I hate that guy. But Joseph was doing the right thing. He was telling his dad the truth. He was saying, hey, these guys aren't doing the right job. And so, even though he had to tell his dad they were doing a bad job, he was doing the right thing. And sometimes in life, God asks you to do the right thing, and it might make people not like you. And that's what's happening here. Rah. And this is going to be a problem for Joseph, even though he is doing the right thing. And we'll learn about that at another time. Anyways, so he was very excited to be in charge. But I don't know about you, but I think at my job, if we had a 5-year-old come in and start telling me how to do my job, probably would not be the most excited. I know sometimes, even as a parent, sometimes my kids say, hey, you're not supposed to be doing that. And my heart sometimes can say, hey, you're a little kid. You shouldn't tell me that. But you know what? Sometimes they're right. Actually, they're right. So, after this, God was doing something else special with Joseph. God had planned Joseph to be in charge, and we find out later in life why that's so important. He was getting him ready to lead lots of other people, but we'll get there later. Something else special that happened to Joseph is Joseph also. Oh no, I wiped with white cloth again. That's a bummer. Well, that's going to be tough. If the board gets wet, it's very hard to draw. So I'm going to draw. He started having, at bedtime, I don't know if you've ever had a special dream that felt real. He was sleeping. Maybe we'll draw him in. Maybe he can sleep in his coat because it's so big. We'll give him a pillow for the back of his head. He can sleep standing up.
Those look like its ears.
Yeah, it's his pillow ears.
Put some Z's above his head.
Yeah, a little bit of a trick.
Sleeping, perfect.
Now he says zzz. So he's sleeping in his bed, and God starts showing him special dreams. I don't know if you've had a special dream ever, but these dreams.
Well, we'll
You-
talk
let's-
about
let-
that.
let's hear your
No,
special-
let's talk about
Oh.
that after.
We'll talk about special dreams later, maybe. It's a good idea. Sometimes special dreams are a little funny, so we have to be careful. So,
That's funny.
Yeah,
we'll
I
talk about
bet
it
it
later. So, the dream that he had, I'm going to read it right out of the Bible.
Because I'm stretchy.
Okay. He had a dream that he was in the field, just like he probably was with his brothers, and all the wheat got up out of the fields, and they bowed down to his wheat. So he had a dream that he had a little wheat. I'll draw some little wheats here. Wheat. Sheaves are like when they're all kind of bound together. And then all his brothers brought their wheats in. So let's draw more of them. And they said in the dream, we'll bow down to you, sheepy thing. And they all gather together, and then they kind of like praised him like he was a king. Maybe I should draw them bowing down. That's probably a good idea.
I thought, yeah, that was amazing.
Oh, great sheaf of wheat, we worship you like a king. And that was his dream. He had all the sheaves of wheat bowing down to him. And you know what? He was so excited because the dream felt so real. Guess what he did?
Where's the weapon?
Oh yeah, the wet one's bad. He woke up from his dream. And we don't know if God wanted to do this or not. Just says this is what he did. He went out, maybe to the breakfast table and said, hey guys, guess what? And they said, what do you want? We'll draw his brothers again. He's eating a lot. So you want to race the bed? I'll have this guy stuffing pie in his mouth. Pie chunk. This guy's eating pie. So he went out to the breakfast table maybe and said, hey guys, guess what I dreamed about? And they said, what, Joseph? What did you dream about? He said, I had a dream that every one of your sheaves bowed down like I was the king. Well, after having them boss him around the field all day, and now he's having dreams that seem like they're from God possibly, that said, hey, your brother's going to bow down to you. I don't think they liked that at all. In fact, it made them hate him even more. He had one more brother, but I forget what he looked like. Do you remember what he looked like?
Strong man, you said.
Strong guy, yeah.
There was really more.
Yeah, there's a lot more brothers in this.
There were.
And they're going to hold up their fists. I'm so angry at you. I'm going to give you a knuckle sandwich.
Knuckle sandwich.
Knuckle sandwich. And he said, I love my dream. I'm so happy about it. And they were like, we hate your dream. That's just the worst. So they were angry again at him. And then he had another dream the next night. And you'd think that he wouldn't say anything about the dream if it was a cool one, but he did anyway. So maybe God wanted him to know about this dream so he could find out. They could find out that he's telling the truth. So he had a dream that the moon and sun, sunshine, and the moon, noontime, and all the stars, they bowed down to him. Let's read it right out of the word here. They said, they were bowing down to him. Not even a sheep bowing down to sheep, but him himself. All super happy about it. Yay, me! They're all bowing down to him. And even this time, his dad says, hey, are you saying that even your mom and dad are going to bow down to you? And everyone now was even upset about it. Even Captain Chef. Joseph. Jacob, I mean. Hey, you've gone too far.
His nose shrunk.
His nose shrunk. Yeah, we got to fix his nose.
He had
right.
a nice big nose. There you go.
Big schnauzer.
Big nose. There we go.
Even his dad was like, hey, you've gone too far telling us all your dreams about how we're all going to worship you. And this is really important for what happens next in Joseph's life. Now, what's happening is just like in Jacob's life, it was known as Israel, God is ordering the direction of Joseph's life. He's getting him ready for something really big. Now, we don't know what it is yet because we haven't got there in the story, but God is preparing him, and he doesn't even know it yet, even as a little kid, that God is actually guiding him. And it was really important that he's listening to God because these dreams are actually really important for what happens later in his life. And this is actually a very close picture to Jesus. Jesus grew up as a small boy. He was very influential in his culture. He was talking to some of the priests even at the temple when he was very young, and they were very impressed at his knowledge. But as he got older, you could tell that he was God's favorite son. He was in a family of Israel, which is very similar to here, and they didn't like him because they could tell that he was empowered by God. And even in this case, Joseph's dreams are given by God. And so the people of Israel, just like here, literally Israel's children, are acting the same way towards Jesus in the Bible. God's really blessed, obviously, Christ. And this is a very similar picture to that. So even throughout the Bible, even these little stories, even in different parts of people's lives, we could see Jesus as kind of coming being foretold. And so this is really important that even though his brothers didn't like him, it is important that we follow God's plan, that we're honest about what God's doing. Sometimes he calls us to do difficult things, and he asks us to do things that may make people not like us. In fact, the Bible says that as we follow God and as we become more close and friends with Christ, sometimes life will be hard. The world will end up hating us even for doing the right thing. So let Joseph's life be an example to you. And also, obviously, you want to look to God and ask God for help. Hey, God, help me do the right thing, even if it's hard. Because God had a really amazing plan for Joseph's life. And we'll continue learning about that in the future. But that's it. Is there anything you want to add, honey?
No, that's very good.
Yay.
Thank you guys for tuning in today. We hope that you had a fun time learning with us. And we will see you another time. Alrighty, bye guys.
Bye.